In the vast, untamed expanse of the American frontier, where the sun scorched the earth by day and the stars painted the night sky like scattered diamonds, lived a man named Jack Harlan, a rugged cowboy whose life had been forged in the fires of hardship and solitude. Jack was no stranger to the wilds. He'd ridden trails from Texas to Montana, herding cattle, dodging outlaws, and outrunning the ghosts of his past, a family lost to fever, a love shattered by betrayal. At 35, his face was etched with lines from squinting against the relentless sun, his hands calloused from reins and rifles, and his heart guarded like a hidden gold mine. One sweltering summer evening in 1875, as the crimson hues of sunset bled into the horizon over the Wyoming Territory, Jack found himself alone in a secluded valley flanked by jagged mountains and whispering pines. The air was thick with the scent of sagebrush and distant rain, and the heat clung to his skin like a second layer. Exhausted from a day of evading a band of rustlers who'd eyed his modest herd, he decided to make camp by a crystal-clear stream that bubbled from the rocks like nature's own elixir. He stripped off his sweat-soaked clothes, hanging them on a low branch to dry, and lay naked under the open sky, his body cooling in the gentle breeze as sleep claimed him swiftly, unburdened by the weight of fabric or worry. Little did he know that in the shadows of those ancient hills lurked eyes that watched him with a mix of curiosity and fierce determination, eyes belonging to Alara, a wild frontier girl whose spirit was as untamed as the land itself. Alara was 22, born to a trapper father and a Shoshone mother who'd taught her the ways of the wild before vanishing into the mists of legend. Abandoned young, she'd grown up feral, surviving on wits, snares, and the occasional mercy of passing traders. Her hair was a cascade of raven black, tangled with feathers and beads, her skin bronzed by the sun, and her eyes a piercing green that held the fire of the prairies. She moved like a shadow, silent and swift, clad in deerskin and moccasins she'd crafted herself. That night, drawn by the flicker of Jack's dying campfire, she crept closer, her heart pounding not with fear but with an inexplicable pull toward this intruder in her domain. As he slept, vulnerable and exposed, something stirred within her, a primal instinct, a longing for connection in her isolated world. With ropes woven from vines and leather strips, she bound his wrists and ankles gently but firmly, claiming him as her own in the ancient rites she'd pieced together from stories and survival. When dawn broke, painting the valley in golden light, Jack awoke to the sensation of restraint, his body stiff from the cool morning air. Panic surged through him as he tugged at the bonds, his muscles rippling under sun-kissed skin, but they held fast. His eyes darted around, landing on the figure perched on a rock nearby, Alara, cross-legged, sharpening a knife with deliberate strokes, her gaze fixed on him like a hawk on prey. "What in God's name?" Jack growled, his voice hoarse from sleep, struggling to sit up. She tilted her head, a faint smile playing on her lips, revealing teeth white as fresh snow. "You sleep like the dead, stranger. Naked as the day you were born. The spirits led me to you. Now, you are mine." Her words were a melodic blend of English picked up from traders and the lyrical cadence of her mother's tongue, carrying an authority that belied her slender frame. Jack's mind raced, outlaw, madwoman, but there was no malice in her eyes, only a raw, unfiltered intensity that both terrified and intrigued him. He tested the ropes again, feeling the give in them. She hadn't tied them to harm, but to hold. "Lady, you got the wrong idea. Untie me, and we'll talk this out." But Alara shook her head, rising gracefully to approach him, her bare feet silent on the earth. She knelt beside him, her fingers tracing the scar on his chest from an old knife fight, sending an electric shiver through his body. "The wild claims what it wants. You've trespassed on my land, slept under my stars. Now, we journey together." Thus began their unlikely bond, forged in the crucible of the frontier's unforgiving beauty. Jack, pragmatic to his core, convinced her to loosen the bonds enough for him to dress, though she insisted on keeping a loose tether around his wrist, a symbolic claim that amused and annoyed him in equal measure. As they set out, her leading the way on foot, him on his horse with his herd trailing, they traversed landscapes that tested the soul, rolling plains where buffalo thundered like earthquakes, canyons echoing with coyote howls, and rivers swollen from mountain snowmelt. Alara taught him the secrets of the land, how to read the tracks of elk, brew tea from wild herbs that soothed aches, and listen to the wind's warnings of storms. In return, Jack shared tales of the civilized world, saloons buzzing with piano music, trains chugging across iron rails, and the dream of a homestead where a man could plant roots. Their conversations flowed like the stream where they'd met, deepening with each passing mile. One evening, as they camped under a canopy of stars, Alara confessed her loneliness, her voice barely above a whisper. "The wild is my mother, but she is cold. No one stays. They come, they take, they go. Jack, his heart softening, reached out, his hand brushing hers. I've been running too, Alara. Maybe it's time to stop. Their first kiss came under a full moon, passionate and raw, her wild spirit igniting a fire in him he'd thought long extinguished. But the frontier was no fairy tale, dangers lurked at every turn. A posse of outlaws, the same rustlers Jack had evaded, caught their scent, drawn by rumors of a lone cowboy with a mysterious woman. In a brutal ambush amid sagebrush flats, bullets whizzed like angry hornets. Jack fired back with his Winchester, shielding Alara, who wielded her bow with deadly precision, felling 2 assailants before they retreated. Bloodied but alive, they tended each other's wounds by firelight, her tears mixing with the salve she applied to his grazed shoulder. You fought for me, she murmured, her eyes wide with wonder. Always, he replied, pulling her close, their bodies entwining in a dance of survival and desire. As weeks turned to months, their journey led them to a hidden valley Alara called home, a lush oasis with a cabin her father had built, overgrown but sturdy. There, they built a life, planting crops, taming wild horses, and sharing nights of whispered dreams. Yet shadows loomed, whispers from nearby settlements spoke of savages and claim jumpers.